Hi there, my name is Diane, but you can just call me D. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about my most anticipated releases for 2023. So this is gonna be part one of the two videos I'm gonna be making. The first one is gonna be about the fantasy, sci-fi, and romance books, and the second one is also gonna be the horror thriller category because I do have quite a few of those. I'm gonna go in order of publishing date, so I'm also gonna be looking at my screen a little bit. So if I look over here, that's what I'm looking at. So for the first one, it actually doesn't have a date set right now. I'm hopeful that it's gonna be published in 2023. This is the second book of the Book of Night duology by Holly Black. It's called Thief of Night. Because it's the second book, I'm not gonna be able to tell you much about what that one is gonna be, but the first one is basically following the main character in this world that has shadows that are alive, and it's kind of difficult to explain, partly because the world building is not super well done, and partly because I'm not really good at synopsis, especially for this one. I find it quite hard to put into words, but it's a contemporary fantasy. It's set in a world or shadows have become an entity in themselves. That's all I can say about this. So the next one is gonna be published in January 17, and it's Pandora by Susan Stokes Chapman. And this is a little bit of a special case because it was actually already published in 2022 around the same time in January, and they, I guess, are republishing it, maybe with another cover is what I'm guessing. So this is a fantasy as well. I had pulled up a few information about those quite a while in advance, so the stats that I have I don't think are correct anymore, but this one had a 3.74 average rating. It has 416 pages, and this is an historical novel set in Georgian London where the main character is a jewelry artist and she lives with her uncle above her late parents' shop of antiques. And I think one day a vase appears, and it's like a mythic vase from ancient Greek, and she partners with someone who is really into antiques to try to learn more about it because her uncle starts to be really weird. So it looks like it's gonna be fantasy with a bit of mystery and a bit of romance, so I'm quite excited about that one. The next one is The Daughters of Izdihar. This is the first book in the Alamaxa duology by Hadir Elsbey. Yeah, I'm not gonna be great at pronouncing anything today, but that's where I'm at, okay? Well, this has a 4.12 average rating. Well, this has already been published in January 10th. This has 384 pages. This is a debut author. It's a totally new world inspired by modern Egyptian history, and it's about two young women. One is a spoiled aristocrat, used to getting what she wants, and the other is a bookshop worker. I think it's a lot about fighting for women's rights, and there is some elemental magic to this. So the next book that I was really excited about, and I think a lot of people on BookTube also were excited about it, was Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which is the #1 in the Emily Wilde series by Heather Fawcett. This is a fantasy with a 4.33 average rating. It has 336 pages. Basically, this is a professor who has studied fairies for a long time, and she goes into a journey to a small town to study fairy folklore. So that just sounds so intriguing. I think what she finds there is probably dark fairies, magic, and I think there's a bit of romance as well. Then we have another fantasy, so it's very fantasy heavy. It is Victory City by Salman Rushdie. This has a 4.36 average rating. This is being published February 7th, already out. It has 352 pages. From what I understand, there's this battle between the two forgotten kingdoms in, I think it's in India, where a 9-year-old girl becomes the vessel of a goddess, and apparently she's meant to be a great instrument in the rise of a city which is called the Victory City. I think she's set to give women equal agency, so that sounds really interesting. The few fantasies I've seen have a lot of meaning behind them and a lot of discussions that they want to tackle, so I'm interested to see what is the feedback on all that. Next up, we also have one that's been really talked about, and it's The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Shakshi. This is another fantasy with an average rating of 4.14, and it's a short one. It has 304 pages. I think this is a sort of a take on a tale. It's a couple, they're really happy together, but the wife had made her husband promise to never ever look into her past, and something happens and they have to go back to her hometown, I think, and the husband cannot ignore her past anymore and he starts to look into it, I think, and that's no good. So from now on, the books that I'm going to talk about haven't come out yet at the time that I'm filming the video anyway. Broken Perfect Lies by Katie Wismer. I think it's a suspense romance. It has 390 pages. I have pre-ordered it. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think the author has mentioned that it was a sort of Hannah Montana with a twist, and it's adult, and I think it's also a bodyguard romance. So this pop star is assigned this bodyguard and he doesn't really care too much about her, but he does need the money, but maybe he's gonna fall for her. I believe there's a stalker element to the story, so just know that going in. The next one is a fantasy again, and this is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi, and this is by S.A. Chakraborty, who's the author of The City of Brass. I had started The City of Brass and I was enjoying it, but I never finished. So this has a 4.44 average rating, and it is the biggest, I think, on the... No, it's not the biggest. But it is at 496 pages. It's a new trilogy of magic and mayhems on the high seas. So it's a tale of pirates, sorcerers, forbidden artifacts, and ancient mysteries. It just sounds so good. I do really like the sea setting, so I'm excited to see how that goes. I think the main character has this mission of rescuing one of her former comrades that's been kidnapped, and I think she realizes that there's more to the story than that. Okay, the next one sounds so good. I don't know that I've heard anybody talk about it. I really think this is gonna be something that people are gonna want to read, and this is Camp Zero by Michelle Mintz Sterling. It's a sci-fi, changing it up a little bit. It has a 4.19 average rating and it has 304 pages. In the north of Canada, there is this American building project called Camp Zero, and it seems to be hiding quite a lot of secrets. The main character goes there to spy on the architect, I think, and she meets someone there, and I guess they're trying to figure out what's going on. There's also a group of women soldiers that train nearby, and we're not really sure who they are, what they're doing there, what's happening, so we're gonna explore that. And to me that sounds so fantastic. The cover is beautiful. I'm really excited about it. The next one is The Nanny, and by Lana Ferguson. This is a romance. It has a 4.28 average rating and 432 pages, which I don't know, that's a bit long to me, but whatever. This is someone who interviews for the job. She gets the nanny job. However, she discovers that the father of the child is a big fan of hers on her OnlyFans account, but he hasn't recognized her because I guess she doesn't show her face. I don't know, but that's interesting. I think that sounds like a fun story to read, so I'll be interested to see. However, I hope she does let him know soon enough, because I don't think that's something I would like to be hidden for too long. The next one I am so excited about. It's In the Lives of Puppets by T.J. Klune. It's usually his books of fantasy with a lot of romance to it. So this is coming out in April 25th. I don't think I've been saying the publishing dates for the others, but I'll put them on the screen anyway, so we're fine. It has 432 pages as well. And this is basically, I think, about robots. I don't know, this one is kind of strange to explain, but I find that His settings are always a little bit strange to explain, but I think they make sense as you start reading. So I'm really excited about that. I have actually received an e-arc copy of this, so I am hoping to read it pretty soon. I think that's gonna be either the next book or the book after that I'm gonna pick up. Alright, another one that I'm super excited about, even though obviously those are all my anticipated ones, but it's gonna be Happy Place by Emily Henry. And this is a romance. It sits at 4.55 average rating at the time, and it has 400 pages. Still kind of long, I think, for a romance. But basically this is a couple that broke up and they go on vacation with their friends. They decide to not tell their friends that they broke up. That premise is amazing. It's gonna be like sad and difficult, but I think also if they're meant to be, like, I think that's the perfect setting for them to be together again. Just my little hopeful heart. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. Alright, we're almost done. We have 2 to go. The next one is gonna be a sci-fi. It's Ascension by Nicholas Binge. This has a 4.45 average rating and it has 352 pages. Basically this is kind of a sci-fi but speculative thriller as well. A random mountain appears in the Pacific Ocean, which leads a group of scientists to look more into it, and it seems like it's bringing questions about what it is to really be human. I really like sci-fi thrillers. Blake Crouch was my first introduction to them, and even though I did not enjoy his later books, I think there's something here for me that I can really appreciate. So the final book is a fantasy, and it's The Surviving Sky, and it's the #1 in the series called Rages by Kritika H. Rao. This has a 4.69 average rating and it has 512 pages. So I think this is the largest one that I've put. This is an Hindu philosophy-inspired debut science fantasy that follows a husband and wife racing to save their living city and their troubled marriage. What really attracted to me was the cover. It's beautiful. And basically the planets are floating, and I think the main character can manipulate the architecture of the planet with his mind. Those people that can do that are considered elite, and because if they were not doing that, then the planets would fall, I think. The synopsis is a bit more detailed than that. Just go check it out and I'm sure you would be also interested as I am. Those are all the ones I'm super interested in the category of fantasy, romance and sci-fi. There might be others that are going to be coming later on in the year that haven't really been pitched to us yet, so I'm interested to see how that goes. Let me know what are your most anticipated releases. Have you started reading them? I'd be interested to see what you thought of them, or maybe discover other books that haven't been on my radar just yet. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see my part 2 of this video where I talk about the thriller, mystery and horror, make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.